2 to 4. Ano nga ba yung 2 to 4, Gisela?
This is Modern Tribe. Modern families, timeless principles.
Naiba yung setup natin ngayon. Wow!
Iba yung
Nasa bed
background.
tayo, background natin ganito. Homey lang, very cozy, comfortable. And that's connected with what we're about to talk about. 2 to 4. Ano nga ba yung 2 to 4, Gisela?
2 to 4, sabi nila, it means today, tomorrow, and forever.
So of course, naging viral lately yun ang nangyari. Of course, we know what happened to this famous couple. And 2 to 4 has been a trending topic. And of course, this applies especially dun sa kapag best friend mo. No, yun yung intimacy. Later on, I'm interested to really know what's going in your mind as babae. What do you think?
For context lang, yung 2 to 4, naging trending siya because yung couple na to, nagka-issue kasi yung husband, nagpa-tattoo siya, matching tattoo with his girl best friend.
Yes, yeah.
So, ayun na nga, yung wife, who is a known personality, nag-express siya ng feelings niya sa social media. And this 2 to 4 now is associated with a married man having a woman as a best friend.
Yes.
Kaya naman yung topic natin today is, okay lang ba na yung spouse mo may best friend of the opposite sex?
Parang may sagot na ata ako dyan.
Meron na?
Parang. Pero, again, speaking for myself, that's your first question, correct? Do you want me to...
Yeah. Ano muna? Yes or no? Okay lang ba,
Okay na ba?
na ang spouse mo may opposite sex na best friend?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. Yes. Speaking for myself at saka on your end kasi you have a best friend na opposite sex. Right? So, I think it's never about, yung the person, yung sa gender niya. But I think it's more on the level of intimacy that should be reserved exclusively to your partner. So I think valid dun yung incident dun sa babae, yung celebrity, na of course she posted and I think na-hurt siya
Yeah.
kasi yung asawa niya may tattoo same sa best friend niya na opposite sex. Right?
And then the tattoo means na today, tomorrow, and forever. So
Oo.
parang pang lovers yung context
Right.
ng tattoo.
I would
Although
say
pwede
that's
din
really
naman sa
weird.
friendship.
Pwede siya sa friendship, yes. Pero again, tattoo kasi it's something very special. The thing about tattoo kasi it will stick with you. Forever talaga siya literally. Parang may ganun siya na impact sa'yo. Diba? Although you can erase that, magbabayad ka, magpa-laser ka. Pero it's a major decision talaga if you want to go for tattoo. So, tapos parehas pa kayo, parang very intimate naman ata yun.
Sa akin naman, I think it wouldn't be a problem if the guy informed his spouse.
Oh,
and it was
yes.
okay with the spouse.
Definitely, yeah.
Because he was able to explain what it meant for him and the best friend. Kaya lang, yun nga, na-surprise yung spouse. And then, that was the time pa daw na nag-away sila.
I
Kaya
see.
parang,
So, parang
perfect timing. Bakit po gagawin yun?
Correct, right.
Habang hindi tayo magkasundo.
Mm-mm.
Hindi ko pa alam. And then matching tattoo. I mean,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
to just be considerate daw of her feelings. That was what she posted. Okay,
Right,
anyway,
right.
let us define boundaries. So, given na it's okay for you, anong limitation?
Well,
Siyempre, hindi okay
Marami.
lahat, di ba?
hindi okay yung lahat, for sure. But I think it all boils down to respect at saka communication. Now, when it comes to respect, you should ask the question, if your partner knows about this part of yours that you share with your best friend, opposite sex, how would your partner react to it? So I think it will be wise to ask, parang self-assessment muna. about it. Say, so it all boils down to it being sensitive to the feelings of others, of your partner especially. Then at the same time with communication part, may mga bagay na your partner will understand if na-communicate siya well. Wala namang malis yung mga ganung bagay. So it all boils down to it, communication at saka respect.
I agree. Never assume that it's always okay
Yes.
for your
Yeah.
spouse, diba? And yun nga, consult with your spouse. Also put yourself in the shoes of your partner
Yeah.
or of your spouse. Would it be okay for you if ginawa niya to with his or her best friend of the opposite sex?
Yeah, yeah.
And if it's okay with you, again, do not assume that it would also be okay.
Do not assume. Huwag kang
For-
assuming.
Yeah, that's why, as you said, communicate.
Right. And also siguro that's a tricky part. Kasi although, let's say naging best friend mo siya even before naging kayo. Right? So, yung kumbaga closeness ninyo, let's say yung opposite sex ng best friend mo, was born even before naging couple kayo. So, that's a thing that you have to consider. Again, your first priority should be your spouse. Kasi kapag hindi yung spouse yung first priority, hindi na kayo sana nagpakasal.
Correct.
Tama.
And hindi naman yun nakabase sa kung gaano kayo katagal magkaibigan
Yeah.
ng best friend.
So, I think it's okay. No? But the thing I want to add as well, may part kasi when you have yung best friend mo opposite sex, merong let's be realistic dun sa human nature. Of course, opposite sex. Although walang malice, close kayo, good friends, because of human nature, of course, you're dealing with the opposite sex. So, hindi naman natin sinasabi that you won't fall into sin, but of course, human nature will tell us, we will be attracted to the opposite sex. So, just for, although it won't happen, I believe, pero it will be wise I believe, to put some boundaries to it.
Yeah. Meron mga tendencies. And
Tendencies.
humans also affected by different factors. What I'm talking about here is, for example, yung mga friends na sabay nagiinuman.
Yes,
diba?
yes,
So,
yes, yes.
there's influence of alcohol or some situations which might push you to do mga bagay na minsan hindi ka nais-nais for your spouse.
Hindi ka nais-nais,
Diba? So,
yeah.
that's why we should always be careful with the situation na papasukan natin with our best friends.
Right.
So, especially if they're of the opposite sex.
Being careful,
Okay.
right? Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of those things, like crossing boundaries or ano ba tawag dun? Not knowing the
Limitations, right?
Ito yung usual na nagiging cause ng insecurity ng partner or ng
Yeah,
spouse. Yeah. So let's talk about trust versus insecurity. Kailan kinakabahan ang isang spouse mo? Kailan siya na-threaten of the BFF?
Alright, yeah. I know for sure na if yung best friend mo mas marami pang alam kasi sa partner mo, I think that will be a big issue.
And kapag mas nauna pa yung
Mas nauna pa, yes. So, dun sa what I've noticed is yung babae has what we call parang mataas yung gut feels nyo. You can sense na what's happening beyond the natural realm. No? May nakikita kayo, hindi ko nakikita.
Nararamdaman lang.
Nararamdaman ninyo. So, also kasi yung gut can also give you a hint of what will happen next or in the future. Parang may ganun, yung feelings tama sa babae. So, usually yung mga nakaka-notice niyan is yung babae. So may mga kutob ka.
Yes, that's the term kutob.
Correct. So it's okay as well to intervene as early as possible. No? So kapag may mga instances na you're not comfortable, na it's okay to ask questions at saka clarify. Especially kapag uncomfortable. Again, when it comes to this, it's not just about you eh. It's about the other partner. What will your partner feel about this and that? Right?
Yeah, and I guess if the best friend is the first person you run to if you have a problem, if you have doubts, confusions, clarification, if your BFF is the one you seek a comfort from,
Yeah.
then that's already a question mark.
Right. And
Diba?
also that begs a question, if may problema ka, sa best friend ka nag-share, so there's something wrong, missing in your marriage right now.
Parang yung emotional intimacy mo nasa best friend mo and not sa spouse mo.
Right. So
In fact,
that's the beauty of having a spouse kasi you have a safe space no, to just be you are and have an outlet no, to out for whatever you're feeling.
yeah, even if they are the problem.
Yes.
Diba? Well, more so if they are the problem. You need to deal with it with them and not talk about it to your best friend.
Siguro may mga mindset na the reason why I share it to my, let's say I'm speaking, I'm trying to put myself in their shoes. May mga siguro may mga people that they will say the reason why I'm sharing it first to my best friend because he can or she can understand me well, so I can handle my partner well. So I can process it first. So with that again, there is a missing link because that kind of intimacy should be reserved to your spouse.
Yeah.
So there must be parang may kailangan na fixing doon sa relationship ninyo.
Parang naaagaw yung role ng spouse mo,
Yes,
ng
yes, yes.
best friend.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a red flag.
Very, very red flag.
Yeah, and we care about you enough to tell you that if that's happening to you, then maybe you should start, like, ano ba, try to figure it out with your spouse and how you can improve this situation. Kasi sila yung dapat na tumulong sa'yo.
Yeah. I think siguro meron meron kasing element siguro dun sa best friend. Let's say iba kasi yung atake kapag may best friend kayo. Whereas kapag partner mo kasi, your partner knows almost everything about you. So parang may ganun na initial na response or maybe kapag parati mo nakikita yung tao, may familiarity. Whereas kapag best friend mo, may a bit of sympathy kasi yung best friend mo, of course, doesn't see all the time yung mga blind spots, everything about you.
So, parang nakahanap ka ng kakampi.
Correct. Yeah. Parang may ganun na component siguro. Na, again, if you are not getting it from your partner, yung ganung listening ears, kasi yung best friend, usually, the thing that I've noticed with them, they just want to listen, your presence.
Correct. Kasi, again, you mentioned, hindi naman nila alam lahat.
Correct. That's why.
And of course, ikaw yung best friend nila, kaya sa'yo sila papanig.
Exactly. Yeah. So
you're not really dealing with the root of the problem, especially if it's about you and your spouse.
yeah.
But you're seeking comfort from your best friend without really knowing the situation.
Yeah. Ironic. Kasi dapat yung kakampi mo, first and foremost,
Yeah.
is yung partner mo.
Is your spouse.
Yeah. Kasi yung partner mo is the one who will, go through the rain and fire with you, supposedly.
Yeah, good for those who have best friends na yung tough love talaga.
Tough love.
Na
Yeah.
pinapaalala sa kanila.
Pinaprank ka,
Na,
speaking
especially if
truth
it's their fault. Eh.
Yes.
Yeah. But it would be a treasure to have a best friend who will tell you, you know what, you should be talking to me about this. You should talk to your wife.
Well, I like that. Siguro yung good na best friend will point you to his or her spouse.
Correct. Kaya mga best friends, learn from this.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Tsaka when you spend too much time together, siguro no, kasi sa spouse mo, that's something na parang questionable.
Yeah, yeah. So if you're not getting that kind of privilege, with your spouse, I think that's a sign that you need to fix it and talk about it.
Correct. Okay. Speaking of sign,
Anong sign yan?
ano yung mga signs na your relationship with your best friend of the opposite sex is becoming unhealthy already?
With your best friend? Okay. What do you think, ikaw?
So, yun, we talked about parang mas dependent ka na sa kanya and you are more, parang walls down ka
Walls down.
sa best friend mo. While sa spouse mo, defensive ka, walls up ka. Parang it's becoming unhealthy already. Right?
Right.
Because you don't feel safe anymore with your spouse. You
Yeah.
feel more safe or safer with your best friend.
Yeah, yeah. I know someone na this guy is a leader, but it looks like he cannot share his burden to his wife. Kasi his thinking was, my wife cannot handle this. Parang yun yung mindset niya. So he'd rather share this with his best friends. Same sex, in fairness. So not naman opposite sex.
Okay.
So again, there's a thin line between that, regardless of the gender. I think when it comes to sharing one's burden, you can leverage that to your spouse. Tama. So maraming signs for sure. But again, if your communication doesn't bring the best in you, so there must be something that needs to be done in that.
I have a comment on that. No? In fairness naman to same-sex na BFF relationships. Personally, I see it safer than
Safer.
Your spouse having a BFF na of the opposite sex, because for one, yung iba kasi their best friends become their mentor
Oh, yeah.
na same sex.
Uh-uh.
Okay. So, like for example, let's say ninong mo, you share about your problems, a marriage, something that you struggle with as a husband to another husband. So, parang husband to husband siya.
Husband
Or
to
man to
husband.
man. Okay, with their wives. Okay, I think that's normal and
yeah.
more acceptable.
Yeah, yeah.
Because walang attraction, na temptation.
Yes, yeah.
Okay, parang you need some advice, you need some mentoring.
And we need that. That's correct. I agree.
Whereas if you do this with the opposite sex, parang why? It's not a husband to husband, it's not man to man. That one is the role of the spouse na.
Role of the spouse.
Because a mentor who's a, let's say, guy or a husband, that's not the role of your wife or of your spouse. Right? So, maiintindihan ka nun ng best friend mo of the same sex. Whereas, your best friend of the opposite sex, hindi ka niya maiintindihan because that's not her role.
Yeah.
So, it wouldn't make sense. Diba? So, you can't compare those two.
Yeah.
And that's why I'd say na it's more acceptable if same sex yung best friend.
Yeah. So, when it comes to your set of friends, when you get married, of course, you have to protect your first ministry will be your partner. Also, you have to protect in your inner circle, and that includes your best friends. Kasi they're the ones who will feed you, that will make or break you. So again, when you get married, you don't kumbaga shortlist your friend list. Well, it depends on you kasi yung wavelength you might change. So along the way, you might lose friends, you might gain friends, but it's all about your priority at saka mindset in that season of your life. So it will be best na you have to have set of friends that you can, para meron siyang, you need 3 sets of friends daw eh. three sets of friends for you to live a productive, prosperous, and meaningful life.
Okay.
First, somebody who is older than you. So, of course, obviously, this will be your mentors. Somebody who is ahead of you, who can show you the way. Second group will be someone who is younger than you. So, these are the people you want to mentor. You have to leave behind a legacy. And I think it's wise that you have to pass on values at saka skill set din. And lastly, of course, yung peers. So, you
I
need
agree.
somebody who can resonate with you, can relate
Journey
with you,
with you.
journey with you, and that includes your good friends, best friends, and even your wife, and your husband. Kasi you're one flesh. That's the beauty and the mystery of marriage, because two become one. That's a mystery because you cannot put the math does not add up.
Okay.
Kasi dalawa naging isa. Right? Pero the thing about it is you become one in your mission and your desires. I've noticed it with us as well. The more na nagsispend time tayo sa isa't isa, parang yung desire natin towards, let's say, yung giving, giving gifts. Before, I would never think about giving gifts. Last na yun sa list ko. But right now, because of your desire to give gifts, I enjoy it as well. So parang yung desire natin to start with hindi parehas, pero along the way, it became one.
Yeah. Because we wear the best friend's hat.
Exactly.
From
Yeah.
time to time. And speaking of wearing the best friend's hat, no, it's a term wherein the couple would talk about things na pwedeng maging unacceptable,
Unacceptable.
or something heavy that one would usually open up to his or her best friend. Lang, diba? Even if, again, dito papasok na even if the spouse is your problem, should be wearing the best friend's hat.
Yeah.
Okay, para naka-clean slate kayo. So you're not coming from the husband-wife na ano ba yun? Iringan. But you're coming from best friends na point of view.
Yeah.
Isang strategy. Okay, so you talk about how to handle the dark side in a more objective way.
Yes.
Yeah. Going back, meron akong naaalala. Kasi the question was about what's the sign that it's becoming unhealthy? Because when you start keeping secrets from your spouse and you only tell it to your best friend, it's a big sign that
I agree.
the friendship is becoming unhealthy. Right?
Yeah, and also siguro I like to add to that, kapag yung best friend mo, parang hindi siya nagpa-pacify ng problema. Parang yung nangyayari, kapag may problema, parang instead of attacking the problem, your best friend is attacking the person na. So it's adding fuel to the fire.
Oh,
So that's a bad sign.
very bad sign. No? Parang pinapaaway niya pa kayo ng
Yes.
spouse mo. Correct. So, paano yan? Last question na tayo. Sinasabi natin lahat to
Ano
with
yung
the situation na ikaw siguro parang wala kang best friend na babae, di ba?
yes, yeah.
Paano pag ikaw ang may opposite sex na best friend?
Paano kapag ako
How will you handle it?
Yeah, that's a very vague question because I've never experienced it. May mga friends ako na babae pero not deep. So I think I cannot really answer that in a way that I can resonate with. Pero I think if that happens, it will be best na yung best friend ko babae, friend mo din. That's a good start. Kasi it has to be grounded in trust din. And at the same time, siguro yung idea of boundaries. So, dapat ano yung area that I think will hurt you and think that will, protect your peace of mind. At the same time yung communication din. No? So may mga bagay that I need to communicate well, and also may mga ano din, part na common sense lang na doesn't need to pursued kasi it might hurt you. Parang ganun, di ba? So, how about you? If that is applied to you, let's say you have a man, best friend,
Which is meron naman talaga.
meron naman talaga.
Actually, yung mga best friends ko were my men of honor during our wedding, right? And I agree with what you said na your BFFs should be friends with your spouse.
Yeah.
Dapat makilala nila yun.
Yes, yeah.
And true enough, di ba? Pinakilala ko naman sila sa'yo.
Yeah.
And yung kagandahan dun is, one of them, parang ang mas, close na yung relationship niyo now compared to when we were just dating.
Yes, yes.
Or boyfriend, girlfriend. And it's such a blessing to have friends who know their boundaries, the relationship of your BFF relationships, because you now have a spouse, naintindihan nila yun. And maganda din yung if you have a best friend who also has a spouse, maganda yun kasi they become like peers.
Peers.
Na couple. And you guys journey together. Nagiging iba na yung yung environment, yung topics nyo when you go out together, it revolves in your marriages. Parang ganun. And there's no more parang exclusive na communication
Yes, yes.
between the opposite sex na mag-best friends. Maganda yan. I know of friends who, sila, opposite sex, and then both of them have their spouses. Diba? And it becomes BFF na yung couples.
Wow.
So this couple
Yeah.
became best friends with another couple. So ngayon, 4 na kayo. Ang ganda ng ganun. However, if hindi naiintindihan ng best friend mo, if for example, you're not like my friends na they understand, then initiate. Be the one to communicate na, this is the situation now.
Yes, yes.
Okay, of course, my spouse is my bestest of friend. You're still my best friend. However, these two relationships are totally different already.
Yeah.
Diba? And what's good lang for you is that you now have 2 best friends.
Yeah, yeah.
Me or I and my spouse.
Yeah. As the Alas once said, tell me who your friends are, and I will tell you who my friends are. Para barkada daw. Remember that. So again, this is a very interesting topic. Best friends are your companion then, but intimacy, I believe, should be enjoyed with your spouse.
And your spouse should be your bestest friend.
Yes. Beauty and the design of marriage. Napakaganda. Of course, here in the Tumbagahans by Modern Tribe, our goal is really to resonate with you, to journey with you. Marriage, family is our gifts. And once we know the beauty of which, it will bring the best in you. And God wants the best in you. Feel free to reach out in our page at Tumbagahans.
Yes, on Facebook. And the Tumbagahans also on TikTok.
Wow.
Meron na tayong TikTok page ngayon.
Looking forward kasi in the coming weeks, we will be uploading videos related to not just about family but also faith at saka fitness, and also eventually we'll talk about finance. It's all about building you in your life because you have so much potential in you, but that's untapped. That's a very expensive resource that you're not using. So let's maximize it. So
And just a reminder this love month that love is not just a feeling. It's a person. It's Jesus. And you can find the bestest friend in Him.
Yeah.
Diba? If you can't find the courage to talk to your spouse yet, you can always talk to your ultimate best friend, Jesus.
ultimate best friend, right? No greater friend has done this that he laid down is my first friends. So we love because he first loved us.
Yeah.
What an amazing promise he has given us. So again, this is
Modern
Modern
Tribe.
Tribe, helping modern families.
Embrace timeless values.
This is Modern Tribe. Modern families, timeless principles.